in the newsroom. Can he beat the odds? With less than 10 weeks to go till the first round of the presidential election in France, the incumbent has his work cut out. Nicolas Sarkozy trails his main rival by 16 points in the latest poll. We'll be looking at a leader who's been active on so many fronts and yet is so unpopular in those surveys. What'll be his strategy to dig out of that hole after 5 years in office on a continent where almost all incumbents have been booted out since the crisis began in 2008? Today in the France 24 debate, can Sarkozy rally? And with us, Charles Givenovich of the ruling UMP party.
Good evening.
Thanks for being with us. From the opposition socialists, Senator Hélène Conway-Mouret, thank you. Patrick Jarraud, editor of Le Monde, who doesn't want to say perhaps when his first presidential election campaign was.
Well, it was long ago.
It was long ago. We'll just leave. Okay. And for an outside look in on the race to the French presidency, we go to Brussels. Communications consultant Nicolas Beguer, thank you for being with us. And
good evening.
And from the University of Salford in England, Jocelyn Evans, whose tidy blog, 500 signatures, is it .com or .net? I forget.
.com and .net.
Okay,
we do both.
All right, is all about French politics. Very well done. By the way, your opinions and predictions always welcome on the France 24 Debate Facebook page and on Twitter. You can find us at François F24. It's not every day that you announce that you're running for president. That's the case this Wednesday. And it's not every day when you're the French president that you speak English.
For foreign press. When are you going to announce
I'm
your
very
candidacy
impressed.
for the presidential election?
Where do you come from?
Reuters TV.
All right, Nicolas Sarkozy there speaking English a short while ago ahead of that announcement. He's got his work cut out. Sarkozy narrowing the gap with his socialist rival in the latest Harris Interactive poll. This is the first round showing. Watch, though, the numbers there for the far-right candidate, Marine Le Pen, on 20%. And knowing that the National Front voters are notorious for hiding their true intentions in surveys, that is a real cause for concern. We can also show you the numbers for the second round if it were held today. And there you see a very wide margin, indeed, 16 points, as we were saying at the outset. 16 points. Patrick Jarraud, when you look at that survey, is it mission impossible?
Well, of course, it's very, very difficult. Sarkozy, as you said, is an unpopular incumbent, and his challenger, the socialist candidate François Hollande, is quite popular and, of course, leading in the polls. So Sarkozy will be swimming against the current, yes, and it will be very difficult for him. But obviously, he likes the challenge, and he intends to not to give up, but to fight hard.
Charles Givenovich, when you came on, you said to us it probably would be March when Sarkozy would officially announce his intentions. Instead, he's opting for April. Why has he moved the date up?
Well, it will be first an interesting challenge. I think he moved the date because of the polls you've just shown, and because French people just seen him on TV and acting as president. And there was this great question, is he going to be a candidate? And there was this kind of issue, how can he be the president and both the candidate? Now he is only the candidate. He will be tomorrow the president also, but the things are very clear today, and they are also clear for our political party. We have the signal to pursue the campaign and to begin the campaign on the internet, for example, and in the medias.
When you look, again, I want to get back to that poll we showed a moment ago. A huge margin in the second round. In the first round, not so big. Can Sarkozy bridge that difference in the first round?
Well, I would hope so. Hope not for myself, but everything is possible. You know, a campaign sometimes hangs on very little. It could be a sentence. It could be something that's done that's regarded as being shocking for the people and so on. And if you look back at a whole lot of other campaigns before, you see that sometimes it hangs on little. Now, in this one, what's amazing is that it's very centered on the personalities, when in fact you would expect that the outgoing president would be presenting what he has been doing for the past 5 years, that he would say, well, I'm running again. I mean, the question to ask is, why is he running again? I mean, when you've done 5 years, if you run again, it's because you have a program or projects or things that you want to consolidate, or you want to build on it. Now, in this particular case, Nicolas Sarkozy is kind of pushing aside what he has not done or what maybe he has failed to do in the past 5 years. And he's presenting himself as a new man, as, you know, wanting to start something new and so on. And on the other side, you have the other candidate who is coming with obviously being in the opposition for a very long time, which is obviously a handicap. But he's coming with a program and obviously kind of a totally different attitude. So then at the end of the day, you have two personalities and two projects behind them.
All right, a personality-driven campaign. We're going to get back to the issue of running on the record or not. There is the issue of the record. There's also the issue of the personality. And is it his policies or his style that's unpopular? Many in France still talk about Sarkozy, what they label a bling victory party on election night back in 2007, and about a sometimes confrontational style, unbecoming the office of French president, they argue, like when a heckler confronted him at the big Paris agriculture fair in 2008.
Ah non, pourquoi pas? Ah non, casse-toi alors. Tu me salis. Casse-toi alors, merci. Hein? Bonsoir. Comment ça va? On va vous faire un bisou. Ah, tu veux me faire un bisou?
Beat it, you little so-and-so, Nicolas Sarkozy. And that phrase, even though it was back in 2008, has stuck in the minds of many. Let me ask you, Jocelyn Evans, is Sarkozy's weakness his record or his personality?
I think there's a combination of the two. I mean, undoubtedly, the record that he's enjoyed, if that's the right word to use, over the past 5 years has been very mixed in terms of the success of the policies that he's introduced, or indeed policies that he has been forced not to introduce because of massive public and indeed political discontent. However, undoubtedly, in the minds of the French public, he does come across as an extremely aggressive candidate.
All right, we seem to have a technical issue there. Well, hopefully we can sort it out with Jocelyn Evans in a moment. Let me also say he's the first sitting French president to litigate in recent memory, suing his former boss, ex-Prime Minister Dominique de Villepin, who before being cleared of blackmail had this to say.
I am here because of the dogged determination of one man, Nicolas Sarkozy.
And on that score, Charles Zinovich, it's been a mixed week for you because on the one hand, there's two minor candidates from the right
who are going to resign. Yes, well,
who are going to instead back the incumbent, and on the other hand, you still have a lot of people on the right who haven't rallied to Nicolas Sarkozy, and Villepin is running for president.
To answer on Nicolas Sarkozy's personality, I think you have shown a few clichés that we are seeing since. Been seeing them since a few years. We have to concentrate actually on what we have done to protect the French people against the economical crisis, for example. We have also to concentrate on the 3 steps that we have done. The first steps was really to tackle the Front National and the PS, which are our two adversaries and opponents. The second steps now is to promote what we have done during 5 years. And the step which is beginning today and tonight is to promote the programs, and the program will be on our values and the values we are standing for.
Values. So in other words, the debate is going to be more about values rather than economics.
It will be a mixture between the values, what we call Hegelian values, security, safety, France, the place of our country, and also economics, because we are in the center of an economical crisis that we have to struggle and to beat.
Nicolas Picard, for people who don't follow French politics very closely, what does this mean to you? What kind of campaign are we expecting to see?
Well, for me, I would like to come back on one thing. It's the launch. I mean, Foreign Minister Alain Juppé said today that it's actually today that the real campaign starts. But one could say that Sarkozy's campaign has started much earlier, because when you look at this launch, it's a launch step by step. The first step was to consolidate, in a way, his presidential stature, his role as a president. So there were a couple interviews on French television with Obama, with Chancellor Merkel, in which he wanted to show that he's the guy on the international scene. So in a way, and also generally speaking, Sarkozy is really finding comfort in crisis. So the first step was really to really fine-tune and to shape his image as a president. And now we entered a sort of second phase in which he's trying to win the ideological battle, in a way. So we're witnessing since a couple of days a sort of rightist drift. We can already see what happened lately with some phrases of members of his government, like Claude Guéant, about civilizations that are not equal, or recently, actually yesterday, Christine Boutin, who gave up her run in the presidency and is now joining President Sarkozy's campaign. So this shows you that, in a way, it's a matter of benchmarking and also a matter of market share. So where will the voters go this time? And if you want to win the voters and these different shares, you need to get and to win the ideological battle.
Patrick Jarraud, we were joking at the outset that you've covered elections since 1981. Mm-hmm. Here, listening to what we're hearing, talking about things such as like national identity, which civilization is better, is it going to be a very far-right sort of agenda that we're going to be hearing about throughout the campaign?
Well, yes, probably. I mean, the reality is that the left in France today gathers roughly 40% of the voters. So the majority is on the opposite side, center, right of center, and far right. So that's what Nicolas Sarkozy will try to do, to gather those people and to make the difference against the left. Mainly, as you said, on values rather than issues. Is it
the furthest right that a president has tacked in a campaign?
No, I don't think it's the first time, because he already, in a way, did that in 2007, and he was elected partly because at that time the far right, the National Front, lost voters to Sarkozy, and that was the key of one of the keys, at least, of his victory in 2007. Now. The question is, will he be able to do the same this time? And second, as you said, his personality, his controversial personality, will it prevent him from doing the same as he did 5 years ago?
Whether he can redefine himself. Hélène Conway-Mouret, it was all about the socialists 10 days ago when there was the big first rally of the candidate François Hollande. Now we see the polls are narrowing after this heated debate over whether or not the interior minister was pandering to the far right with remarks that he made. Do you feel as though the narrative is slipping away from the socialists at this point?
No, I don't think so. But I don't actually agree with what was said previously. I don't believe that the French people today want to hear about values. I think they hold values that are very dear to them, dear to the Fifth Republic that we're still in, and I think they want to hear what's going to happen in their lives. They want to know about social issues. They want to know about the economy. When you talk to people, they're very worried. The ones that are most hit are the middle class. The upper class has been very privileged throughout the past 5 years with the various policies that Nicolas Sarkozy kind of took on their behalf. And I think, if you want to get people to turn up and vote, you need to talk about things that are just close to them, close to their lives, close to their children, close to their future. I think, the French people will be very tired if they just had these debates on ideologies and whatever. They just want to know what's going to happen to them. And those in charge of making decisions are going to do on their behalf. And so while I said there are two personalities, and I don't believe that Nicolas Sarkozy has changed much, he's been ruling France from the Élysée Palace. We can see that these ministers are normally coming out with a very clear message. All of them, Claude Guéant reaching out to get the far right votes
Interior
back
Minister.
in and so on. He hasn't changed his style, and that's why I go back to the question as to why he's running again. What does he want to do that he hasn't done in the past 5 years?
But there is, when you look at the polls, people actually trust more Nicolas Sarkozy than François Hollande to tackle the economic crisis, or to face an international crisis, or for presidential standing. So what they criticize Sarkozy for is not only his personality, but also the fact that the fiscal system is not fair in their view, that issues that concern them personally, social, as you said, or labor issues, or housing, these topics are in favor of François Hollande. But as far as the economic crisis is concerned, they tend to trust Nicolas Sarkozy more than they do François Hollande. So this is the paradox of the situation.
But what has he done to tackle it so far?
A lot.
But there's a million more unemployed than there were 5 years ago.
Yeah, but the issue is that we have to be international to tackle the crisis. This is why, for the first time, we will have like a Franco-German campaign with Angela Merkel, who is going to come and visit Nicolas Sarkozy to also to support him during the meetings. And I've seen a tweet from Mario Monti today saying that he is supporting him also.
Jocelyn Evans, very quickly before we go to the break, is it a smart move for Nicolas Sarkozy to campaign alongside Angela Merkel?
If I could say something about this.
I think certainly in terms of defining himself as the international leader and as a statesman, which is what he's counting on to win him re-election, the fact that he has experience and he's taken France in the crisis and led it successfully as he would promote it during the Cannes summit, then yes, it is a sensible approach. I think what is less clear to me is how successful this gamble on basing his re-election on values is going to be. It's true that the winning of some of the National Front voters away from Jean-Marie Le Pen in 2007 did contribute to his success, but looking at the polls at the moment, by going right, as he is being perceived as doing, this is not necessarily going to win sufficient votes.
Not necessarily going to win sufficient votes. Jocelyn Evans, I'm going to interrupt you because we're going to go to the break. When we come back, I want to get your reaction to that of Nicolas Begert. Stay with us. This is the France 24 debate.